俺が今までやってこれたのもいつかこんな日が来ると思ってたからだ。いつか答え合わせができるはずだと何度も死んだ方がマシだと思った。それでも父との夢が頭にちらつくんだ。
On the outside, Erwin Smith was a brilliant leader who was unrelenting in his goal to save humanity from the Titans. As commander of the Survey Corps, a symbol for the hope of humanity, Erwin often led his men to victory with his ingenious tactics and strong leadership. He was a force to be reckoned with. However, behind his heroic front of strength and confidence, Erwin carries a burden of immense guilt, with his obsession about learning the truth of the world being his only motivation that keeps him moving forward. This is the tragedy of Erwin Smith. As a child, Erwin was a curious boy that had many doubts about the world he was living in. He often questioned why humanity had no memory of the times where they were confined within the walls. It didn't make sense to him because there should have been at least one person that could have been able to share the stories of the past. It was then where his father shared his theory, the theory which would play a part in influencing Erwin as an adult and a commander. The theory was the king had altered the people's memories to make them easier to rule. Upon hearing this, a young Erwin became excited. So excited that he shared this theory to everyone around him. But due to young Erwin's lack of understanding of the world, it resulted in his father's assassination arranged by the military police. After the death of his father, a young Erwin Smith wondered why his father had to die for just wanting to know the truth. It dawned on him that those in the government were consumed by greed, as they only acted for themselves and not for the greater good of humanity.
子供の頃からずっと考えていました。なぜ父は真実に近づいただけで死ななければならなかったか。やはり父の死に正当性は微塵もなかった。父は人の持つ欲と愚かな息子によって殺されたのです。
It was after this tragedy that Erwin made his mission in life to prove his father's theory. After joining the Survey Corps and becoming the commander, Erwin's leadership and direction would prove to be of great help to save humanity from the Titans, such as leading the expedition beyond War Rose, capturing the female Titan, and the operation to retake War Maria, which would prove to be his last. He inspired those around him, encouraging them to give their hearts for the sake of humanity and for a better tomorrow. He charged into battle fearlessly, at times even coming up with the most bizarre strategies to win a battle and even risking the lives of his own men. It was without a doubt that Erwin proved himself as a man for humanity. However, there's no rose without a thorn, and with every successful mission comes dozens of casualties.
この世の真実が明らかになる瞬間には私が立ち会わなければならない。
それがそんなに大事か。てめえの足より。
ああ。
人類の勝利より。
ああ。
Was he really a man for humanity, or a man that wants to prove his father right? It was at this point where Erwin's true intentions started to become clear. When Eren was captured by the armored and colossal Titan, Erwin did not hesitate to mobilize his forces to rescue Eren at all costs. The mission was a success, but many were lost in the process. At first, it seemed like rescuing Eren was for the greater good of humanity, as Eren was a weapon that could be used to defeat the Titans. In his eyes, losing his limbs and his men were not as detrimental as losing Eren. Let's go back to the conversation he had with Levi. Erwin admits that all he wants is to prove his father's theory, even if it's at the cost of humanity. Things start to make sense now. Why did Erwin recruit Eren to join the scouts, knowing full well that there's a possibility of Eren losing control and killing everyone? Why did Erwin not only put his men in dangerous situations just to increase the chances of success? because everything he did, though it seems like it's for the good of humanity, was all just for his selfish desire to achieve his goal. But what's wrong with that? Isn't this killing two birds with one stone, as humanity not only gets closer to conquering the Titans, but also finding out its past and history? So why is prioritizing his father's theory over humanity a bad thing as long as it still plays a role in saving humanity? Erwin was a more than capable leader that brought the Survey Corps to its prime. But Erwin did not hesitate to sacrifice his men for the cause, who were also willing to die under his leadership. Though he cared more about the basement, Erwin carried a bag of guilt for the fallen, those who sacrificed their lives believing that they gave humanity hope for a better tomorrow. Many call Erwin a devil for misleading his troops into giving their lives for his own selfish desire, and to a certain extent that is true. But it was during the darkest hour when Erwin showed exactly why he is the commander of the Survey Corps. As Erwin observes the battle from above, he knew that they had fallen into the enemy's hands with no way of running. He knew that this was a team deathmatch to the end. As Erwin reflects on the lives lost under his command, his ambition to prove his father right kicks in as he wonders if he could escape to the basement if things go wrong. Things only get worse from here as the Survey Corps gets boxed in deeper and deeper into an inescapable corner. Having lost countless men and any means of victory, Erwin comes up with one last plan, giving up on his dream. Victory was secured, but can such slaughter really be called a victory? As an unconscious and dying Erwin returns to the survivors, a conflict arose on who should receive the Titan Serum. As Erwin was about to reject Levi, he knocks Levi's hand away, which allowed Armin to live. But here's the big question: did Erwin intentionally reject the serum? Or did he accidentally reject the serum by putting his hand up while having a flashback of his childhood? Regardless, it was ultimately Levi's choice to choose who gets a second chance at life. So why did Levi choose Armin? Levi knew about Erwin's dreams, and he knew how much Erwin fought for that dream. So why did Levi let him die? Everyone is a slave to something. For Erwin, he was enslaved by his own dream, which has been eating him up from the inside. Letting Erwin die would finally free him from his shackles, which Erwin already decided when he abandoned his dream by leading the charge at the Beast Titan. Levi also knew that Erwin only cared about his dream, but Armin has more plans for humanity. Once they have achieved their dreams, Armin will continue to move forward, but Erwin wouldn't, making Armin the better candidate. I'm sure there are more reasons, but in the end, Levi decides to end Erwin's suffering, thus closing the book of the life of Erwin Smith. Erwin had a selfish desire, but that didn't make him a bad person. It was without a doubt that the Survey Corps would have never gotten this far without him. If anything, it only proves that Erwin was simply like us, human. We each have our own different flaws and beliefs, but those things don't necessarily make us evil. At the end of the day, Erwin gave birth to a new era for humanity, and he stands as one of my favorite characters in this series.